I did think it would be funny if the three of us began the podcast by doing what Elon did, but then I decided that we couldn't have that filmed. There's a reason why we wouldn't do that.
I mean, yeah. Too
What
much.
are you talking about? Are you talking about that time that he launched an innovative rocket into space? Or
No, I'm talking about when he CK'd last night.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
oh, that.
I see. The thing is, I think we only do thinly veiled anti-Semitism on this podcast. I don't think we'd be able to go full send with the Nazi salute. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
Our many haters and detractors would have a field day. They'd have a field day with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even do it as a joke.
No.
I don't really know if it can ever be a joke, to be honest.
And we're straight into the discourse.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The way you moved your arm there, I was like, Ollie, no. Not the joke, pinning you down.
Flinch.
Do you remember when that footballer did it? I can't remember his name. I have a name, but I don't know if it's the right one. But there was a footballer, like a lower league footballer, who was pictured at the back of a Christmas party doing a Nazi salute, and he had to plead that he didn't know what World War II was. That was his defence.
Nice.
He was just saying hello to somebody.
See, I think that's very different with Elon.
Oh, yeah.
I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
Exactly what he's doing. It's so deliberate,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's so, and it's almost the transmutation of his online shitposting. It's like edgelording in the real in the real world, where it's like, I'm going to very briefly throw up a Nazi salute, and the libs will lose their minds over it. And I know, all in all, it's just a bit of fun. It's just a bit of banter, and I've triggered them, haven't I? I've triggered them so badly. Ha 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 ha. Nazi saluting to own the libs.
Where do you think this leads? What other Nazi shit do you think he's going to do as as a joke?
Let's roll back a little bit, because I think the question on at the moment that people are still asking is, did he or did he not mean to do it?
100%
yeah.
he meant to do it.
But my point is, I actually don't think it matters whether he did or didn't mean to do it. I also think it's one of those things you can do with some plausible deniability, right? Where you can the sort of people that you want to enrage will be enraged by that. The people who are already on your side will defend you to the hilt and will claim that you didn't do it. So you've basically you've won in both senses.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Elon Musk is a neo-Nazi? No.
No.
Do I think he courts / has moved to the hard right of politics? Yes. But I think this is symptomatic of it's a symbol of how politics is changing / has already changed in America, which is that the Republicans specifically, and maybe it's actually more Trump than the Republicans, understand the power of attention, be it on social media, be it in the media, as in broadcast or print, which is that Elon Musk, as the richest man in the world, the owner of a social media platform, possibly one of the most powerful people in the world, he doesn't care if the New York Times accuses him of doing a Nazi salute. He doesn't care if we're sat here being like, you've done a Nazi salute. He understands that in the attention economy, him doing that gives him at least a day, possibly two's, worth of headlines and attention discussing. And if you're breaking it down, being like, well, is it the right? How is it over 30 degrees? Because that's what constitutes. What is
getting the protractor?
Yeah.
Right.
How far away from his body is it? Like, what was the intention?
Didn't shout Kyle, so it's
yeah,
not
yeah. So it's
salute.
not.
It's a Roman salute.
That is what he wants, and he understands. And Trump specifically understood this in a way that the Democrats didn't, where their media strategy was so withdrawn, was limited interviews. It's almost like they didn't want to be in the news, the Democrats, whereas Trump understands perfectly that the more you are in the news, the more attention you have. That is political capital. That is modern political capital.
I don't think it's pitched at the news media though. I think it's pitched at his he only really cares about the opinions of people with Pepe the Frog accounts on Twitter. I think it's a nod. It's a nod to them. I actually don't think he really is. He didn't want to trigger the New York Times. He wanted, it's a wink in the nod to the people who are describing themselves as groypers.
But can it not be both? I think it might be both.
I think it could be, but I think it's much more one than the other.
I also like the idea that it's surreptitious. It's like a nudge. It's like wink, 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 nudge, nudge.
This is actually really subtle.
This will get him, and he's just full on throwing it out there. It's not. at the inauguration of the 47th president of the United States were like, the world is watching.
Behind the president's podium.
Very subtle.
you-
Subtle, Elon. He's
Have you heard about this guy?
a master
This
of
is a deep
nuance.
cut. He's called Adolf Hitler. He was a painter.
Elon Musk, a master of the unsaid. Yeah.
I wonder, it's just very interesting, isn't it, that the people who have been really concerned about free speech, allegedly, for the past 5 or 6 years or whatever, have been telling you that it's all about pronouns. And then someone goes and does a Nazi salute on TV, and it's like,
Fine.
whoa, 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 whoa. And the most bizarre point about all of this is that it obviously shows you there is a limit to free speech, because people have been outraged by it, right? There obviously is a bar. What is he trying to prove? That the bar is limitless, that you can do absolutely anything?
I think he does, because he's still going to be the head of whatever is the Doge department.
There's a court case about that. Have you seen that? It was launched yesterday.
What was
filed
it?
yesterday. So there was a court case handed over that was seen by the Washington Post that was, they think that Doge actually infringes on American civil liberties.
Oh, really?
So it may not even be allowed to go ahead.
But then,
Lawfare
but then
because it's all about,
does
you
this-
need to have transparency, and Elon's like, not going to tell you what we're doing.
Does this
We're just going to
disprove-
get rid of crap.
Does this disprove the existence of cancel culture? If you're doing a Nazi salute in front of the world stage and you still get to be the head of a government department.
Well, I think you look at like the gains of the progressive movement in America, of woke. What did it achieve? Did it achieve material change or material gains for minorities, be that in gender, in race, or whatever? Probably relatively limited, really. I mean, it's like, people lost their jobs because they said words that certain people don't like. And actually, liberals and Democrats tied themselves in knots, creating them almost this ripe electoral formula to make themselves as unappealing to the electorate as possible by being like, no, you've called someone, instead of calling someone a First Nationer or, whatever sort of, policing the language in that way, they alienated vast parts of the electorate. And then you get your man Trump in the White House and signing one of his first executive orders to be like, 2 genders, don't care about it. And it's like, the backlash to woke ideas, be that around free speech, be it around politics, has culminated in someone very closely associated with the Trump regime doing a Nazi salute at the inauguration speech, and with executive power passing legislation that almost certainly has very serious consequences for trans people in America. And it's almost like you tied yourselves in knots and fixated so much on discourse and what was happening on social media that the response from the right has essentially been, as soon as we're going to get in power, we are going to shut this shit down, And
So you're arguing that the Democrats wound up the Republicans so much that now trans people aren't allowed to exist. Is that what your argument is?
it's more that
This is getting near what Ed said over Christmas.
Stupid gay people wanted rights.
no,
And now Musk
no,
is-
that's
got
not what
his
I'm
jack boots
saying.
on.
I will never say that. No, what I'm saying is that it's interesting to me / revealing that the kind of, when progressives were in power, i.e. for the last 4 years, and you look at the material differences, and it's like first day Trump comes in, and in response to woke ideas about gender identity, about I wouldn't even say it's a woke idea about like keeping immigrant families together and not separating them, things like this, and just straight away he is using power in a material way to have like very serious real world consequences for all of those people. The power of the backlash to that sort of left wing position, I find it quite striking and quite remarkable.